everybody. Hello and welcome back. We are live. How's it going, Bobby?
It's going great. It's going great. Lots of exciting things, lots of fun stuff.
Indeed.
We had some sad news
You want to talk about
last
that
week.
while I see if I can get
Sure,
this other
sure.
business? Why
Yeah,
don't you tell everybody the sad news?
yeah. So Bandai reached out and said and asked very nicely that they don't want to confuse the public by having our soundtrack up or our version of the soundtrack up. And with no choice, we decided we had to
Mm,
take it down from all the platforms. We're hoping that Bandai does put up their own version, and we did ask.
yeah, we asked
And
about it, but they
once that
probably...
goes up, we will tell everybody, and
Yes. Yes, but it's sad.
but
Nonetheless, it's very sad.
that's
So I suppose get it while you can. I don't... If it's still up, I don't know. Anyway, so we do have just a quick little housekeeping thing with OBS here. I don't know what's going on here, but I chose, I'm not so technical, but anyway, I chose the chat and I chose projected source, but nothing's coming out on it.
uh,
So
let me see real quick.
I don't know what the hell to do here. We could...
Can I see the chat win? Oh, I remember what we always had to do. Can you double click on chat?
Where the hell? Oh, yes.
The purple one.
Okay, there it is. Yeah.
Cut the URL to force it
Okay.
to log back in.
Is that what we did?
Yeah,
All right. So Command X, say OK, do it again, and
paste it in.
paste it in there. Okay. Look at that. Yeah, there it is. We're back. All right. Sorry about that, everybody. I am not a tech genius, but Bobby is, and I'm so grateful to have him. So, all right, let's test some emotes. They're working. Excellent. All right, guys.
Yeah,
Well,
all set.
we're all set, and oh boy,
I think
tell me.
a couple of episodes ago, you hinted at a story about sound design for the game.
Story. What story?
There's a couple stories about the sound design.
Okay.
The person who ended up finally doing it, how you ended up having to switch from one
Ah,
to the first person to the second
yeah.
person.
I'll,
Uh, you can
yeah.
decide how much
Yeah.
how
So
detailed you want to get with those
it's, you
stories,
know what
but
it is? It's honestly, it's more of a story about my sort of having a really big budget and wanting to hire a fancy sound designer. And I'm not going to mention anybody's name, and their name were removed from the credits because Namco rejected everything pretty much that this person did. And he was
can we talk about
very...
the why?
What?
Where was his failing?
Yeah,
Like,
well, okay, so I'm getting there. Yeah. It is yeah, no. The butt bounce sound effects is what I did because Namco was rejecting this other sound designer I hired. So my failure was I hired a pretty well-known Hollywood sound designer who worked on a lot of big film projects and was very well known and in the industry. And I thought, ooh, I got lots of money. I'll hire a fancy sound designer. So my error, and the reason Namco rejected all of his work, not all, but the majority of it, we had to redo so much of his work. It was crazy. Was he was not a gamer. He was not a gamer. He understood. So I'll say it this way to everybody who's listening. All media has something that I call a narrative language. This is similar to Marshall McLuhan's idea that the medium is the message. So in other words, there's intrinsic effect of every form of media that it has on its viewers or consumers. Let's use that word. So yeah, it's true, Nick. They're just not in the same ballpark. And it's not for lack of talent. This guy was really, I mean, I hired him because he's amazing. Like amazing. Like when we did the snow mountain, like we ordered like 500 pounds of snow delivered in a dump truck into his garage. And like, we're like, all right, well, we got about 4 hours before this melts. Let's, you know, like, but that's how kind of hardcore, you know, and there was a budget, so we could do stuff like that. But what he delivered, they hated it because he was treating Pac-Man World 2 like it was a film. He wasn't a gamer. So then, for example, the intro movie. So this is such a, I love telling this story because it's so funny, but it proves my point perfectly. So I'm sitting there and I have like a ridiculously short amount of time to get all this sound design done, including the butt bounce. Everybody's like, whoa, you did the butt bounce too? It's like, yeah, I did. And I got my head in my hands and my ex, you know, is like, oh my God, you know, is there anything I can do? I was like, well, if you want to learn Pro Tools and go through all these sound effects libraries and then just pick out sounds and cut them in. And she said, teach me, with this look of determination in her eyes. And I thought, all right, I'm going to do this. So I spent about, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours explaining how to do it all. And she got the hang of it. She would ask me questions. And I shit you not, she basically cut almost that entire intro cutscene that we watched. Mm-hmm. Namco approved about 85% on her first try. Now, why is it that somebody who's never done sound design in her life could have a higher hit ratio or an opposite? Because with this guy, maybe they approved 20%. So like the opposite. They rejected only 20% of hers. Why? Because she was a gamer. So she understood intuitively the sort of natural narrative language of gaming, because every gamer kind of knows. They understand how it goes. And, you know, it's really sad because, you know, this guy wound up suing me. And, you know, because like if you live in Hollywood, you're going to get sued. At some point, someone's going to sue you for something. And like, literally, I kid you not, the judge rolled his eyes like when he presented his counter defense. And you know what he did? He literally sued me for the minimum you can sue in small claims court, which is $5,000. So at least at that time, it was $5,000. Okay. Like he didn't want to risk spending money to hire a lawyer. And I had a fantastic lawyer. And he and I had what's called a 5 and dime deal, which is basically essentially like, okay, if I'll take 5% of everything you earn, or 5 and 10 deal, 5 and dime store is what I'm confusing that with. And 10% I'll take of anything I find you, any gigs I get for you. So like for me, we could go to court, no problem, because I had this 5 and 10 deal. So I don't need to pay lawyers' fees, you know. And my lawyer was fantastic and was a wonderful guy. And he was like on my team, you know. Anyway, so yeah, and it was really sad, you know, because like you think you have friendships with people and then they sue you and bullshit like that. And it's like, whatever. And he was just nasty about it afterwards. And, you know, the judge literally rolled his eyes because we were going back and forth because of our contracts. So he would send it to his lawyer would send it back to him, he'd send it to me, I'd send it to my lawyer. Literally all while we had to get stuff done. And his lawyer was taking too long. So his defense in the end was, we never signed the contract. And the judge literally like laughed it out of court at that point, because you're going to use that as your defense. Are you kidding? So like all the emails going back and forth between all the lawyers, that's a contract.
Right.
That is
Right.
a legally binding contract. Doesn't matter that you didn't sign. It's still a contract. And so the judge sealed all the evidence with prejudice, which means basically that he can never use that evidence ever again. And my lawyer said, because I overpaid him by about $10,000, okay? And then he has the balls to sue me for an additional, five. And I kept leaving him voicemail messages like, dude, you're off the project. And he just wouldn't pick up his phone. He would just let the answering machine pick up. He refused to pick up. I mean, it was just ridiculous, man. Like, he just played the most low game you can play. He's a douchebag, like really a douchebag. And I'm sorry. And I will never mention him by name because I don't like to talk badly about people as individuals. I'm talking about how bad this situation was. So, yeah. And so my lawyer said to me, dude, we have to countersue. We got to get that 10 grand back. Okay. And he's like, literally, it's an open and shut case. All of our evidence is admissible. None of his is that he can't do any evidence. He's fucked.
Right.
And I said, Michael, name of my lawyer. I was like, no. I said, it's enough shame that he tried to sue me and he lost. It's enough shame that he's been fired by Namco on, one of the biggest, game franchises in the history. I mean, if you think about an icon that represents all of gaming, it's a yellow, right? Like that is literally the icon to represent all gaming. It's immediately recognizable, even more than Mario, I would argue, right? Like just literally you just need that wedge and that's it. That's a universal symbol of gaming, I mean, of course. Hey, all right, let's start the music. That's a wonderful segue, wasn't it? Anyway,
Perfect.
So there you go, guys. And it's just like, sorry, I'm not really getting the all of these comments here. Sorry, guys, I'm not really following the comments because I'm trying to tell the story. But if you have any burning, positions on that, or if there are any questions that you feel we should answer, Bobby, I don't know if you were following either, but
Yeah, no, I've been following.
Cool. Did we miss any, or is it just mostly commenting?
Mostly just comments.
All right, very good.
I did see one comment.
So yes, it's the Ice River jump scare. Exactly, Nick.
That's it.
All right. Miles, I appreciate you saying that. And one of the things I always say in my life is that whatever you do in your life, do it with love, Oh, look, my emotes are not coming also. What did we do to fix that? Do you remember?
Probably the same thing.
And where do I do that? Sorry.
Emote wall.
Emote wall? Guys, I need my
Make
emotes.
sure it doesn't show up on the chat. I mean, on the stream.
They are showing up on the stream?
No, I'm just saying if you open up that window, make sure it doesn't show up on the stream.
Ah, right. Right. Guys, I need my emotes. I can't do the stream without the emotes. So where do I go? Sorry. I guess alerts.
Emote wall.
Emote wall. Correct. Double click it. Do the same thing we did before. Is that right?
Yes.
So we got to remember this, and maybe, what I used to do when I used to stream all the time? I would make a pre-stream checklist of everything that I would go through, and I would just go one by one. And so that's definitely one we should do. So let's see. Are they okay? Look, we got love. So I'll say this. Whatever you do in your life, you should do it with love. And, suing people and getting involved is like, it's not good. It's not a good thing. What it does is it unleashes aggressive energy. It unleashes, and my lawyer was like, dude, this is an easy 10 grand. We can totally garnish all of his wages from the IRS. Like, dude, this is a slam dunk. And I just, because I always put my, self in the other guy's shoes. It's like bad enough. He got fired from Pac-Man, not by me, by Namco. Namco literally said, this guy is not working out. We don't like what he's doing. He doesn't understand the IP. It appears like he doesn't understand gaming. Holy cow! Matthew has got some orb icons. Check him out. Nice one. Nice. I am really impressed, man. Let's do the same. Okay, there we go. Right back at you, man. Right back at you. I have like multiple ones. I don't do one at a time. I do like a big shot, So guys, look, whatever you do in your life, just do it with love, man. The guy got hurt enough. What's sad is that he somehow thought I owed him money, and it really showed a lack of professionalism on his part. It's like, dude, just take the medicine. Like, you got fired. You purposefully didn't answer your phone, and he kept delivering assets. And I said, stop, cease, desist. Stop. And my lawyer sent stop. We even did a registered mail. Stop, cease, and desist. Guess what? He refused to sign. He wouldn't sign the registered mail. So he just literally was playing a dirty game. Like, I'm going to try and do all the assets so I can claim I did the work and then sue him for non-payment. It's like, how dirty, But you want to know something, Bobby, and everybody else? I feel sorry for him. I do. And if he's watching, it's too bad things worked out that way. And he sent me these, after he lost, the stupidity. He sends me these sort of you're a fake and a phony, and you're the most vain, laid back. He made it you're the most vain, laid back I've ever met. And he said, let's take this to a real court and then we'll see what really happens. Of course, I didn't answer, but the stupidity, dude, do you not need, you don't know what it means with prejudice? You don't understand that? It means you can never bring that evidence back into court, you fucking idiot. Sorry. Now the anger's coming, because when I think about it, it makes me angry. It makes me a little angry.
Right.
But you know what? My anger lasts for a second. Okay, so let's talk about something, Bobby. Something that we've discussed before. I've got a button for it. Authenticity. I want to take a moment for that. Because you know what? When he said you're the most fake, phony, the most vain, laid back I've ever met. I'm from Toronto, Canada. I'm just not a Hollywood guy. I'm not a California guy. In Toronto, it's just you are what you are. Nobody really gives a shit. And everybody's in the same boat, and we sort of all are together, And I don't know, I try to be, look, nobody can be 100% authentic. It's not possible. We all have a little bit of even me right now on the stream, I'm a little bit playing a bit of a part, right? Because why? We're trying to entertain people, right? So I'm trying to be a little bit of a showman, but I'm not afraid, for example, to I suffer from severe depression. There are days I cannot get myself out of bed. That's real. That's authentic. That's, I speak of it in a light way, but it's true and it's real and it's part of who I am. It's part of what makes the music that I make. I think that 9 on 10 artists suffer from some kind of a mental health disorder. So that's real. That's authentic. That's true. That's me. So we talk about this idea, what is authenticity? Because not only do I strive, at least I strive to be as authentic as I can be as a person, and in my interpersonal relationships, I do my best, at least what I think is authentic. Because maybe I am the biggest fake and phony and vain laid back that anyone's ever met. Maybe that's true, and I just don't know it because I don't have the psychological presence of mind to be able to analyze myself that deeply. That's possible, Bobby. Now, you know me pretty well.
Right.
I would hope you would tell me that. And I know Emanuele would, because Emanuele has said similar things, not about my authenticity, but about something else that's like totally not related to any of this. And I'll never forget that. That was the day that he and I really became friends, because he told me something that was really not nice for me to hear at all.
Right.
But I needed to hear it. And because he loves me and he's a real friend, he fucking said it to me. And I said, dude, you're right. And thank you for telling me. And since then, I took that and I worked on it, because he was right. I'm not going to talk about it right now because I don't want to go there. But, about authenticity, like I hope you would tell me, or like, maybe you're doing it a little, overdoing it on the stream. But I don't know, Bobby. I like to think that this is how I am also when I'm teaching or when we have our meetings. Like, I'm enthusiastic. I try to be positive, Anyway, so I think authenticity is when you put your true self forward, not without fear, because everybody's afraid to do that, but with, what's the way of saying this? I don't even know how to say it. You put your true self forward and you make a risk in doing so. And I think that authenticity is about showing the truest part of yourself. I want to say without fear, but it's scary to do it,
I mean, you can't connect with people unless you're authentic. You can't genuinely connect with people unless you're being you.
That's right.
I've met people who I know this is not the person that I'm speaking to right now. And it just feels, there's no way we can connect. So
here, I'm going to be authentic right now, because I think I just kind of put my thumb on it. Like there are days that I can't get out of bed and I suffer the worst depression. And so, sometimes I do sort of show it up a little bit, because I'm so fucking fragile inside. And if I don't, I'll fucking break. I don't think it gets more authentic than that. And I'm tearing up a little bit. So that's the truth. That's the hard, real truth right there. All right, let's get to the music.
Let's go to Ice River Run.
I opened my heart and my soul to the world. So now let's get to the music. Sorry, I'm not getting to all the comments, but I got really sidetracked there. But anyway, it was a good ramble there for a moment. But guys, thank you all for listening and for being kind. Yes. That's the other thing about life. Like, it doesn't ever cost. It costs zero money to be nice to people. That doesn't cost money. So why not just be nice to people when you can? All right. We are going to talk about World 3, Level 1, also known as the Ice River Run. So, I say the audience knows the music deeply. Let's skip playing the original. Let's just jump into my reconstruction. And then if you have questions or people have questions, and then we can just kind of break it down, all right? So let's do that. We're going to go ahead and I'll share my screen so you guys can also follow along. And let's see here. What do I have to do now? I need to, oops, I'll put that over there for now. Okay, so here we go. This is it. We're doing the Ice River Run. Here we go. all the other parts repeat. So there it is, guys. There it is. Thank you all, guys, for all of your lovely, lovely comments. It means a lot to me. As I always say, if there are people other than your mother and your girlfriend that like your music, it's probably good. Anyway, yeah, guys, what I'm trying to do is do a 1-to-1 reconstruction. So I'm taking all the original sounds and samples exactly as they came off of my sample CD discs, which I very meticulously archived, by the way. Bobby and I were talking about that early. I was saying that, like, I'm the king of archiving. And I was like, the proof is that after 25 years, I'm able to faithfully restore this entire soundtrack. Now, we have plans, even though Namco has they were very kind, by the way, extremely kind, right? It's worth noting, like, we're not angry at them. They're protecting their brand and they have a right to do so. It's totally understandable. We're very sad about it and we have a right to be upset. Right. But they were really nice about it. They didn't, threaten us. They were just like, hey, we noticed. And if the legal equivalent is, or the personal equivalent, if it was interpersonal, it would be, do you mind to take it down? Right? Yeah. Like that. If there were a conversation between bros, that's kind of how it would go. Anyway, as sad as we are, we do have plans. We have plans. We're not abandoning this project by any stretch. So the next thing that we're gonna do, and maybe, like, I don't know how we want to do in the future, Bobby, but the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do what we're gonna call. Oh, sorry, I got to take a moment to talk about this because of what we're gonna call it, which is Repack the Right Way. Yes. So, guys, I heard Bedoying Woods. Their version. Oh,
that was brutal.
That
was brutal.
It was so brutal. Yeah. You guys, I got to go full screen for this one. You know what? It's not because it's not mine. See, as you get older, I think you're able to remove your own ego from, what it is you do and who you are. And you can be like, all right, well, you know what, that kind of sucked, and, or that was really good. And you learn, I think, to be, as objective as you can be, especially about your own work. And I think this is mandatory as a professional composer, because you're going to work with producers who are going to say, like, this is terrible. And they don't mean that your music is terrible. They mean the way it works in the game is terrible. Or it's terrible because it doesn't match the vision that they had or what they expected. So it's not, okay? So I'm being very objective when I say this. The reason why their Bedoying Woods was so just bad. I'm sorry, guys. It's like the notes were there, but it's like, okay, here's how I can explain it to you. Imagine a Bach 4-part fugue, right? With 4 interweaving melodies. And imagine that there's only one of those melodies and some chords every now and then to outline it. It's exactly like that, but with my rhythm. Like my rhythm and my sense of rhythm, and like the hand drumming with sticks on drums that I actually played. Only, as I said before, that's something only I can do. Because, look, I'm not a great drummer. And Miles Davis was not a great trumpet player. He wasn't. So he took his shortcomings. He couldn't play high notes. He couldn't play fast. So what did he do, guys? He made cool jazz, right? Smooth in the middle, and became a legend. Well, it's like that for me with drums. Like I'm not a great musician, period. But I took all my shortcomings and my sense of rhythm, which I do have, and I made rhythmic textures that I believe are uniquely mine, some of which I can show you right now for the track we just listened to. So
yes, that would be great.
Yeah, let's do that. All of that was missing, guys. It was just like a just this stupid moronic. I'm sorry, guys. I feel so bad for the guys who whoever did that I'm tearing into them this way. But you know what? I'm being very honest. I'm being very honest about it. It just doesn't even come close to the original. And it's a shame, not because that's going to be in there and it's in the game and I didn't do it. That's not the shame. It's a shame for the fans. It's a shame for the people who have loved this music for 25 years, for the kids who grew up with this music. You know how many emails I got over the years because of your music? I became a composer. You know, like I have so many emails like this. It's a shame for them. For me, it's not that I don't care, but it's like, all right, they didn't call me. They had their internal team work on it. Okay, that's fine. But they didn't do a good job of what I've heard so far. Now, I will always give the benefit of the doubt, and maybe there's going to be some really, really good stuff in there, but I really doubt it. Right? I doubt it very much because of what... Bobby, you heard it, right? I mean, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it was brutal.
It was brutal, right? Like, guys, have you heard it? This new trailer that they put out, I guess, this week, no? Or last week? Like it came it's been out very recently, and I think it's like a gameplay trailer, they're calling it.
Right.
Yeah. And like the first half was good. They were doing like the original Pac-Man theme. I thought it was solid. Like I would give it a solid, like, you know, score. Like it was almost felt like my original. Might have even been, I don't know. Like it didn't bother me. I wasn't upset by it. But then when it gets to the Bedouin Woods, guys, did you hear it? No, I haven't. Is it any good, Miles? The new Clyde in the Caldera?
No.
Should I listen to it on the stream and then like be very sad? No, there's one of the original Pac-Man theme from my arcade music, which is mine. That I did that originally back then. It's like a sort of 8-bit version of the original Pac-Man theme. No, this is like the Bedouin Woods, but like just, you know, okay, here, I can explain it perfectly. I wrote 3-dimensional music and they did 2-dimensional music. It's that simple. It's the only way I can explain it. Let's talk about some of these rhythms that I'm talking about here.
Yeah,
let's
talk about why yours are so good.
Say again?
I said let's talk about why yours are so good.
Well, I mean,
intricate, detailed.
I'll take it that they're good, but let's just say different. So, and I did talk about this previously, but I want to go deeper a little bit now. So I want to explain something to everybody. As a composer and a musician, there are certain things that become so much a part of your fabric that they become yours. So, right?
Yes.
Like Led Zeppelin and, you know, John Bonham as a drummer, like he was my god, basically. So I took one of his drum beats, which is called As the Levee Breaks, or When the Levee Breaks. And it's just, you know, boo-doo, ka, boo, boo-doo, ka. I talked about this, I think, on stream 1.
Yes.
Anyway, but here's a much more detailed breakdown. So let's see here. Where are we here? So here we go. This is, first of all, let's look at this is the drum kit. So this is called Dal Ast Bonham Steroids. I got a flashback to Bobby to see if he finds it as funny as I do. All right, he did. Good. So now we can go back. Hey, what happened to my why is this not? Oh, okay, there we are. So he thought it was as funny as I did. Excellent. So this is actually originally from the Asteroids library I put together. So let's just see if we can play the original beat as he played it. I don't even think I have it. Here, let's do this. Maybe we can just get away.
I'm pretty sure you played it last time.
I did? It's just then I got to find it. I got to find it then. I don't think I'm sure I have it somewhere. I just don't recall exactly where. Let's see. Well, I know I have it like sliced into bits. So actually that's even better rather than playing it as it was, because you never know. We could get a copyright strike for playing it as it was. So where am I here? I am my DLM library. I am looking for for loops. And nope, it's not there. My gosh, where would it be? Oh, guys, because I'm in the middle of moving everything. I know what I'll do. I'll go on to my new samples drive, which has everything updated. And let's see here. Where are we? And hopefully it's in there. So see what I'm doing here, guys? I'm aggregating all of my libraries that I made from back in the day. All right, Astro Bonzo Logan. Here it is. Oh, okay. So here, I do it. Yeah, the original. All right, let's see. Hopefully we're not going to get sued. This is the original beat. I won't play the whole thing. That's enough. Okay, and then it just continues. So then what I did back in the day was I would cut it up, right? And just play like that much. And then I take this much. And then eventually I got the idea to cut it up into 16 individual slices. So, long story short, I then did some very, very heavy processing on it. Anyway, I said 16 slices, I meant 16th notes, but there's only 13 of them. Then I went ahead and I did some very, very, very heavy processing, okay? And here's the processed version. That's not it. Where is it? Oops. Hold on. Where are we here? What am I looking for here? Steroids. There we go. I call it steroids because this went through an extremely heavy processor. So now this is the reshuffled beat. So this is like me taking... So, okay, so here. What I did was I took all those individual slices, and you can see them all here. These are the slices. So essentially, I took John Bonham's drums and I just processed them very heavily. I can show you the processor also later. And then I used those as my own drum sounds. You understand? Okay. So that it has nothing to do with what he played or even how he played. And that's why I call it Dal asked, because it was from the Asteroid soundtrack, Bonham Steroids. And then, of course...
And did you play it in, or did you...
Well, I'm going to show you everything in a minute. Okay. Exactly how I did it. So this, for those that know, this is the drum set, the Ludwig drum set that he played. It was orange, the same color. Just so happens it's the Orb Soundworks, same color as our logo, which is fantastic. Yes. So our Orb logo looks beautiful on his drum set. I put the Asteroids logo because this was originally, I did this originally and sort of thought of these ideas on the Asteroid soundtrack. And then I put Logan Custom Drums because I'm customizing all these sounds and these samples so that they have nothing to do with Led Zeppelin or John Bonham. Now, let's talk about... So here, let's see. All right, so here is what I call the hi-hat layer. Obviously, that has nothing to do with Led Zeppelin or John Bonham. It's just using this processed version of his drum set as a source. Okay? Then we get the snare. So, hi, hello, meep, meep, hello. So there you go. There's the snare. Here's the kick drum. See that? Do you hear Led Zeppelin? No, absolutely not. Do you hear Pac-Man? Yes. And here's the funny thing. Let me do this. Let me play it for you how I used it on Asteroids, because musically it's very, very different, right? So I didn't take like the Asteroid beat and then just repurpose it. I just used the same sounds and listened to how it went on the Asteroids soundtrack. Let's go. Here we go. Originally, Asteroids, it was going to be 3D Asteroids, and then they scrapped the whole thing. And yeah, it was going to be called Asteroids 3D. Okay, anyway, here's how I used it originally. Right. Nope. Oh, there it is. Missed it. Here we go. And that's before it went on steroids. That was like the original non-steroids version. So yeah, this is very, very much my own, unique sort of brand of rhythm, because this is, and then of course we have this. This is the third layer. I'll play it soloed. That is exactly from the original Asteroids. It's exactly as I played it and programmed it and did it. And, but it's mixed lightly. It's very, look at the levels, right? The kick is way up here at -3. The hats are at -4. The snare's at -8. And this is -14. So it's really just there almost as like a secondary hi-hat part, And then if we solo all of them, so you're getting that boom, ba-dum, boom, boom, ba, ba-dum, boom, boom, ba. You're not getting the Asteroids. The Asteroids is just put in there, like I said, as a secondary hi-hat. So if we mute the inner layers here, right? So, and then at the bottom, we have this beautiful big bass drum, on the downbeats. And that's at plus points, almost +1 dB. So it's quite a bit. And then of course we have the timpani. Ooh, you hear that clicking? That's not acceptable. We have to remove that clicking. Yeah, I'm finding all these little problems, but it's still there. Why? Better. Okay. Let's also just save that. I'm on another screen. Sorry, guys. Just trying to handle. Where are we here? There we are. All right, that's fixed. So that's a very good example. And then, of course, for those that remember, we were talking last week about Eric Persing and how important his role was in the world of sound design, right? So, so this is from his Distorted Reality series. And these are just drum sounds. And of course, I'm making the rhythms. They're all my own rhythms. Right? So then we take that and we add it with all the other stuff going on. Let's see here. And we get this. I mean, you could even mute the Distorted Reality drums and it wouldn't. It's not really. It's just like a little right. Tiny little texture you can basically hear somewhere in the back there. Okay, so that's basically what I was talking about. And this, this is about putting your own musical influences, and it's about recreating, taking something, a really old drum beat, and turning it into something completely different and unrecognizable. So, right. Like in a million years, you could never understand how this was done. Now, as promised, I'll just talk briefly about the processing that I did, okay? Yes. For anybody who's interested, I don't know how important this would be to anyone, but let's see here. So the processing I used, I'll do it on the low-tech bits, and then you can kind of hear the difference. So the processing that I'm using, okay, it's called an H3000. And this is, well, first of all, This is a real physical piece of equipment, which is right here. This guy right here, which mine is still plugged in. It still works. It's but it's retired now because you know what it is? It's the plug-in versions are just so much more convenient, right? Yeah. The screen on that is like, maybe not even. It's like as thick as your finger and maybe as long. That's how much screen you have, right? Versus, having all this with a matrix routing system and everything, it's beautiful. So this is the processing I used. This is, by the way, this is literally named after the presets I originally put in my real H3000. I had Mucho Grit 1, because I wanted to add something gritty. So here's the normal drums. Now I'll add, you can see the pushing over here, I'm adding the processing. And it's adding a nice texture to it. Right? And here's without it. It's really dramatic, no?
Right. Yeah.
So it's adding extra bits of grit and of texture. Now let's see if I just, you know what I'll do? Because
how did you... Just real quick, how did you go about in getting the original preset onto the plugin? Did you have it written down? Did you have it saved in the machine?
No, it's a great question. I literally this happened every time I got a plug-in version of hardware that I used to own. Okay. So we talked about this, about the virus open source community that brought it back to life. They went to the next level because literally all of my original system exclusive messages, which are basically the way presets are stored on a computer before there were like hard drives essentially to store your like Logic presets. Like you literally had to transfer data over a MIDI cable. It's so arcane. But anyway, so on the virus, it read all the sysx information into the plugin. It was ridiculous and everything, every one of my presets that I spent years building just back to life. Right. Not so much on the on the Eventide, because there's no way you can do a sysx dump, but you can't retrieve it into the plugin. It doesn't work. So with every new recreation of a plugin, I spent untold amounts of hours just listening with headphones, tweaking. It was a little more like that.
Okay.
And because my eyesight sucks now, I'd literally go into the original with a magnifying glass and like be like, oh no, I got to bring that one up. Oh no. It's it's minus 13.42 cents, whatever it was. So like, yeah, it was very, very difficult to bring all of it back. But let's see what I want to just try and do for you guys real quick here, if I can. Let's, I want to just see, I've made a new track so I won't disturb anything here. Let's go back to this original, oh wait, that's the X-Men. Let's go to the Asteroids library here and see if we can get the DAL. I think, here we go. This should be without any of the additional the steroids, as it were. It's a better... There we go. Perfect. And this is like kind of how it sounded like on Asteroids. I don't know why it took me a while to figure out the H3000 on this particular rhythm. But here's... And I'll go through a few of the presets that I rebuilt, painstakingly rebuilt. So... First of all, let's listen to the grit, the Mucho Grit 1. Hear how different that is? Here's without. And with. Okay? So now, what we'll do, I'll just play through a few of these presets that I spent hours rebuilding. And you can see, oh, sorry if it's too loud, guys. I'll turn it down a bit. But you can see the names, Mucho Grit-ish, because my Holy Grail preset was called Mucho Grit.
Nice.
And so like Mucho Grit-ish, this is my whole attempt, like original, not the original, but like original. And that's just like complete insanity, drum destruction right there. That's about where I would have put it, around there, right? Yeah, guys, this is like absolute destruction, okay? A grit, which is like, it's kind of like how the original was, but not quite. Oh, sorry, guys. Sorry, maybe these are just too beefy for the stream. Anyway, I think you all get the idea.
Oh.
So maybe this might be a good place for us to have a quick little 10-minute break.
I was about to mention that, yeah.
Yeah, because you're about to turn into a pumpkin, no?
I hope not.
Meaning
I
like
still have a few more
at
minutes
the
in
stroke
that
of
video.
midnight, you know. Anyway, yeah, we got to wrap the stream up basically. And then actually, let's just keep going. And
Okay.
yeah, let's just keep going without a break. And so we can wrap up. Bobby and I have to wrap up in the next 10 to 15 minutes or so. So I don't know, maybe we just...
So I have a quick
Yeah.
question about this. How do you... I wouldn't have thought of distorted drums for Pac-Man.
Right.
I just...
Wouldn't have.
I don't see it, right?
Right.
Now that I can't see it with anything else now. But if I were to have been given the artwork for Pac-Man World 2, I would not have chosen that.
Right.
Was
By the
it
way,
just
I'm just gonna also, while you're talking, prepare something else I'll show you. But go on, yeah.
Sure. Well, was it just the era, the time? This was what rang true in your heart? Where
Yeah.
did that
You know
come
what?
from?
It's so hard to answer the question. I'm gonna try my best. Before I do, I want to show you the evolution where I took the same distorted drum sounds and then I played live snare drum, orchestral snare drum. And this was used on Pinky's Revenge.
I don't hear that.
Oh.
I don't know.
Oh, I know
don't
why.
think
I know
the
why.
chat can hear it either.
Yeah. I know why. Because this is by the way, this software is as old as Pac-Man is, by the way. So the audio is not being routed correctly. Let me try that again. Do you hear it now?
Yes.
Sorry about that. All right, from the top. So this is me playing live snare drum with the Asteroid DAW on steroids together. So
Okay.
one's doing one thing, one's doing another thing. And you can hear the layered textured approach, right?
Right.
So to answer the question, first of all, this piece of software that you're looking at, I'm not joking, was last updated right around after Pac-Man came out, but it still works. It's made by a company called Reason Studios. Back then they were called Propeller Heads. Bit of an older company. Regardless, it's hard to explain how important this software was because it allowed you, as you can see, to draw these lines in every single strike or transient. And then it would assign each one of those lines to a key in your sampler. So I'll just show you, for example. So here, if we look at this, the asteroid on steroids, or Dal-Astabonum steroids, if we go in and we just look at the mapping editor, you can see each slice. Now I've got a delay. I'll take it off. So, because as I mentioned before, I say we all, composers, we would start by just kind of chopping up a beat into like 4 parts and then kind of shuffling and then eventually someone was like, hey, what if we did into more parts? And what if we even built software that could even do it automatically? And that's exactly what Recycle did. This software you're looking at here. And it looks old. I mean, it's so old. It's crazy. So each one of those slices gets put on a grid. And then you have them all on your keyboard. So what you can do is you can make new rhythms. Okay, we got a snare, kick, and a hat. What else do you need? So you kind of see how that works?
Right.
So in terms of like answering your question, you know, I guess, and there was no YouTube back then. Okay, you know what? I know how to answer it, because I used to spend hours sort of almost like just inventing sounds. So I'd sit there and I'd like plug my 909 drum. I had a real TR 909 drum, and I'd plug it into the inputs of the virus, and then I'd start tweaking and making distortion, and you know, and I just loved how it sounded. I've always loved distortion. And so, yeah, for me, once I had these slices, right? I then took my sort of strange sense of rhythm that I have, which developed from a lot of different sources, because I studied a lot of legit like hand drumming, you know. I also was classically trained in orchestral percussion, and I was like a rock drummer in a band. So I sort of had all influences, and so, and I've always made my own libraries. This is the thing, right? So sometimes, like for example, these John Bonham drum sounds are in my library, my Orb Soundworks library, because it's no longer him.
Yeah.
I mean, ask yourself this: do you hear any John Bonham or Led Zeppelin in this beat?
Right.
None. That is my extremely precise military orchestral snare drumming technique, with a little bit of that asteroid Bonham Dal thing. Dal are my initials, by the way, David Aaron Logan. So, yeah, and so then that becomes mine. It's mine now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because it's no longer his. And this is no different than when the Beatles covered Little Richard, or, you know, did Twist and Shout, or covered Chuck Berry's Roll Over Beethoven. It's no different.
Right.
You know, because in many cases, the Beatles made it better than the original. Or when Led Zeppelin covered Howlin' Wolf, or Muddy Waters, or Lightning Hopkins, or any of the great original blues songs, many of which were written by like Willie Dixon or Son House even. These are like really old, going back to like the original Mississippi Delta blues origins, right?
Right.
But Led Zeppelin made it more popular than they ever did, right? Why this goes full circle back to the Pac-Man repack music. What I did see they announced in this gameplay trailer is there's going to be a jukebox.
Jukebox.
I saw.
Yes.
That gives me hope that the original unaltered Pac-Man World 2 will be there in the jukebox. This is giving me a lot of hope, guys, because all I don't care if it never gets played once in the whole game, my originals. I don't care. I mean, I really don't care. My ego is so well detached that it's like, because I'll explain how it works. I've already resigned myself to the idea that my originals will never be heard once. But when I saw the jukebox, I got hope. I was like, well, hey, maybe that's all I want, is that at least somebody who really loves that game, they can play and they can play and get enough credits and then unlock. Right. You know? So there it is. So other questions from anybody there, or you, or anyone, anything? Can I quickly also just play random question? What's the AF pipe you used? I believe that was from Heart of Africa, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look here. I have a Pac-Man World 2 library here that I've built. Let's go into the Pac-Man library, and if we go to Wins, and we go to Pac Pipes, I have a whole section called Pac Pipes. AF pipe, yes, Heart of Africa for sure. The band D is from Heart of Asia, and the hunting pipe is also Heart of Africa. These are all from Eric Persing, by the way, and Spectrasonics. And some of these you can find in Omnisphere to this day. So, and the thing is, guys, you know, the way I use libraries is like there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. If you've got a pipe and it sounds wonderful, use the pipe, right?
Right.
But the majority of drum sounds out there, I was never happy with them, so I recorded myself playing. And I have extensive libraries of me playing. And I'll look, let's just do this. I'll just show you guys really quickly here how it works and what I did, the lengths that I went to. So if we go to the Orb Soundworks custom library here, and we go to, let's just take congas, okay? And let's take Orb Conga. This is a recent one. So here it is. These are the sounds. You know, just a basic Latin rhythm, okay? And then what we do, we go into the Orb Instruments library to percussion. We go to congas. We go to Orb Congas, and look here, I've got a MIDI file, .mid. The .mid is exactly how I played it on the day I made it. So what we do then, if we want to pull that into Pac-Man World 2, we just do so. We drag it in, and now how I played the congas on the day I recorded that will now play at the tempo and speed of this. Let's do this. Remind me not to save at the end of the session because I'm messing up a bunch of stuff here, but it's really fast. Right. Now, how I probably played it back in the day would have been closer to around here. Doing a little mouth percussion there, but that's me actually playing my congas, and then using that recycle program, I'm splitting it up into individual slices on the keyboard so that they play back with the same feel that I played with on the day, and I can do it at any tempo I like. Any tempo. So I did this technique a lot. So I have a massive library, you guys, a massive library of all sounds of, you know, basically of me playing my sounds, my libraries, my rhythms, everything. So this is the Orb Soundworks custom instruments library. And then you see, these are my big three. I'm working on Pitfall 3D as well. Give me some time. But these are the Pac-Man World 2, X-Men, and Asteroids libraries. But these are like all my custom libraries that contain some things from each of these three, but mostly have like my bongos and my congas, and then a whole section for my rhythms. And then, for example, I have this whole ethnic string series. So this is an Appalachian dulcimer, but I'm playing it with little drumsticks. Right? So I actually sampled my own hurdy-gurdy. Yeah, I'm that crazy. What a crazy sound. I sampled my own nickel harp because, well, why not? See, the nickel harp is incredible because it's hollow and icy. It sounds like really like it's basically a viola, but there's no vibrato. It's such an incredible instrument, Bobby. I love it. So I have this massive library, okay, that I've done. And my most ubiquitous, the one I use the most, is this guy right here. This is called a Chinese moon guitar, also known as a ruan. And here it is. Again, I'm playing it with drumsticks, okay? So that's me actually performing a 5-stroke roll. And here's the thing. There's the basic example, but I'll play you now what that actually sounds like in a soundtrack. So everything that you're about to hear right now, 100% of it is all made with sounds that I made right here in my studio. They're my own samples, my own sample libraries. Check it out. Oh, that's the old version. Let me play you the new version. Here we go. Right? So literally, those sounds do not exist anywhere on planet Earth because they were all done here in my studio. Only we have them at Orb Soundworks. So if you want these samples, you guys, you gotta apply for a job at Orb Soundworks and maybe you'll get hired. I don't know. But you know what it is, Bobby? The big problem with all the music being made in the last, let's say, long while, everybody's using the same old libraries. And people are not innovating. They're not making their own sounds. And so for me, like, I recognize my own creative limitations. I know what I'm great at and I know what I'm not great at. And so, for example, some of the things that Eric Persing did, especially during those days, like, yeah, I can do a lot of that now, but during those days, I didn't know how. So using things like the craze drum or the low-tech bits or whatever, the sand drum, that became a part of the Pac-Man World 2 feeling. So they're now included in that library. Now I know how to do that, and I would do that. I would make my own set of sounds like that. So it's interesting how some things become yours and some things you make something like, for example, you're not going to make a better French horn than Spitfire Audio. You know, they've cornered that market. Actually, a Flatus, but they're not as popular, so most people don't know. Strutzoff sampling, guys, best sample library. Although lately, a string of disappointments.
Yeah,
epically. Yeah. George Strutzoff, we love you. I mean, in a way that's hard to describe. He's the greatest samplist ever, in my opinion, because he's made two of the greatest libraries ever, which is the Flatus strings, Flatus brass. But man, the Arabic Ethnic Orchestra and the Pacha, so disappointing, man. But whatever, we still love you. Oh, the string contours, fantastic. Any other questions, by the way, from the audience? And I'm sorry, guys, if I'm not getting to your comments or your questions. Turkish percussion. I have a whole series of doumbeks that I actually, what you heard, those were all my doumbeks in the opening of that last piece. I have a question that's not really related to topic, but which Pac-Man World 2 song are you most proud? This is a recurring question, isn't it?
Yes.
It's always the same. Spooky Boss. It's simple, man. You know what? I listened to all 4 Spooky, level 1, 2, 3, and Boss. And you know what? I am so I will tell you all. Oops, sorry, I bumped into my own mic here. There's certain pieces of music that you create in your life, and you look back and you say, "How did I do that?" Now, the answer to that is coming clear because I'm reconstructing. So I'm like, "Oh, that's what I did. Oh, snap, that's cool." But it's the compositional choices that I made on some of those themes and some of the chords and the voice leading. I was like, who did that? Holy shit, that's good. Because I thought to myself, I don't write stuff that well anymore. This really is my magma opus. Ha 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 ha. I'm sorry if that made anybody angry. My deepest apologies if that made you angry. That really terrible pun. It is a peak song. Because I honestly listen. Here, let's just, can we? Yeah, why not? I think it was on level 3. And I looked at it and I just thought, my goodness. By the way, Bobby, if you have to bow out, you can bow out. I'm
shortly.
Yeah.
Very
okay.
soon. Let's
just do this. Let me just see if I can find this one moment. Or I just thought to myself, who wrote that? It couldn't have been me. Let's see. I think it was this one here. Oh, here it is. This is a variation on the original melody, and it just... right here, guys. Guys, if I tried for the rest of my life, I don't think I could write a melody so damn beautiful. Because it's even better than the original melody from level 1. I have to say it, man. And I really... Listen, guys. You know what? I'm a very insecure person. I know you wouldn't think that to look at me. But I am. I'm a very insecure person. And so... and I'm very fragile. But... damn, that's a good melody. Like, I gotta, you know what I mean? Because most of the time I'm really insecure about everything I do, as most artists are. But man, sometimes I just whoosh, sledgehammer on the nail destroyed. And that is a beautiful melody, man. I gotta say it. I just gotta say it. I know it sounds a little egotistical, but you know what? Because of my insecurity, I have to sometimes prop myself up a little bit, and that's what I'm doing right now. I apologize if it does seem a little over the top, but that's authenticity. I'm being authentic right now. Very authentic, right. I think. Right? All right. I know Bobby's got to go. I got to go. The cat is hungry. That's not good. Oh, did we ever do an emote for this? I know we did a screenshot. We got it.
Your arms are out, so we have to try one more time.
Do you want to do one right now? Should we do?
Cut off. Yeah, sure.
All right, let's do this. Wait, let me take off my back brace. My back is really severely in pain. All right, let's move this here. And is that good?
I think you got to move a little bit further back. Perfect. Perfect.
We're going to make an emote out of that, guys. That, yes, you can clip it, do whatever you want, flip it on its head, remix, regurgitate. We're going to make that our next emote. And by the way, thank you guys for collecting our emotes. This is awesome. I'm really excited. And thank you guys all for coming. Really, we wouldn't be doing this if you guys weren't here. And it's so exciting. Right. To see that there's some interest in this. So with that said, I'll go ahead and sign off. And Bobby, thank you so much for coming and joining me. I appreciate it. And by the way, the third leg of the stool will be here on Tuesday in Manuele. So,
yes.
Right. So okay. I may do a surprise stream. Don't hold me to it. I'm not promising because we have a lot of things to cover when he gets here. But anyway, regardless, thank you, Bobby. And I still gotta fix this, but as I always say, I think the purpose of life is to find some purpose in life, and I think the meaning of life is to find some meaning in life. Guys, thank you all, and we'll see you again in 1 week. And this is the second time where I can't find I can never find the because you know what happens? OBS hides itself, and even when you click on it, it doesn't. On the Mac, there's no love, zero love for OBS on the Mac, because they literally just like, hold on, I'm gonna have to use the even Alt Tab doesn't bring. I can't believe this, you guys. I have literally no way of getting to OBS at this point. This actually kind of sucks. So I literally can't end the stream until I figure out what the hell's going on here. My apologies, everybody. I am really trying to end the stream. And at this point, I'm literally closing all the other windows so that hopefully eventually... Where is it? It's like gone. Maybe I know where it is. Oh my God, I feel so stupid. Anyway, I can...